I heard this is a place I can get a good cup of coffee. I heard I can get a cup of coffee in here. Is that okay?
Hi, I'm Tatu. I'm a co-owner of Folklores Coffee House. I was Chef of the Year for 2020. I have a cooking segment on KSAT 12, and it just blossomed after that. My wife and I, when we first started Folklores Coffee Shop, we were gonna open up a restaurant, and on our side of town on the south side, there was no coffee shop. So we're talking about what should we do? Should we open a restaurant? Should we open a coffee shop? And we realized that our neighborhood doesn't have a coffee shop. So we decided, you know what, let's do it. I don't know anything about coffee, but I figured, let me learn what I can learn. So and everyone told us not to open on the south side. It's poor, you're gonna get robbed, all this crazy stuff, and none of that ever happened. People came out, they supported, they loved what we were about. And so since we had opened on the south side, I think there's 4 coffee shops that have opened on the south side so far. And we always felt coffee is kind of where the community meets, right? It's kind of where people start their day, where people need refuel for their day, and we kind of wanted to be part of that community and be part of that, of that lifestyle. Our baristas are so talented, and they always come up with different stuff and stuff that I've never had before. So then all the time they make it, it's more and more that I feel like, you know what, I do like coffee, So our famous drink is the Susie. That one is the Mexican chocolate, and then we brulee marshmallows on top. And I think that's the wow factor. I think that's where people are kind of like, oh, look, they're burning marshmallows. It's chocolatey. People like getting it in their beards. It's one of those things. My favorite part about owning a business in San Antonio is dealing with other small businesses, right? And because we all have the same problems, and it's so cool to lean on one another when we do have that problem. And in San Antonio, I don't know why, but it feels like we're all cut from the same cloth, and we all gravitate towards each other. Some days, being a small business owner, it goes like this, like that, but what keeps me going is that someone will message us, hey, thank you for being there for us. Hey, thank you for donating this. Hey, thank you for supporting us through this. And that's what makes, our day, and that's what makes me realize that we are doing the right thing.
Chef Tatu, you're on to your second shop, Folklores Coffee, an amazing concept. You use Mexican beans, you use locally sourced ingredients, and you talk about really important things. What inspired you to be an entrepreneur?
So at first, being a chef, we were going to open up a restaurant. We lived on the south side, and we want to write a business plan. So my wife was all, let's get coffee, let's write a business plan. South side, we can find anywhere to get coffee. No. We ended up going to the Pearl to get coffee, and my wife saw like, there has to be coffee in the south side. And I was, I don't know, I have a huge following on social media, so I posted, hey, what's your favorite coffee shop on the south side? Everyone was Starbucks, right? So then we're kind of like, maybe we're thinking about this wrong. Maybe our community needs coffee instead of more food, right? So we looked into it. I don't know anything about coffee. Just dove in, try to figure. And then my thing was try to figure out flavors that went well with coffee that made sense. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people were like, "Don't do it. Southside, it's poor. They're gonna rob you." Like all the negativity, and none of that happened. People came out to support. Business was well. And from where we started, there's 4 or 5 coffee shops now that open on the south side. And I think to me that was a big deal. And being small business, I got to meet other people that were kind of the same boat. People that wanted to do something they were in love with, and tried their best to do it.
That's really true. Because I think that your shop really comes into that middle ground for the purists who are like, if it's not 100 milligrams of water, I'm not drinking it, to the people who really don't really know a lot about coffee. I think that your space caters to both of them. Do you think that the big misconception that a lot of people, or the disagreement that people had with you as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, is that, and still to this day you struggle with it, why are you on the south side?
I think it's changed a lot just because the south side has changed a lot.
It's a tremendous change.
It's 2 different things now, but it's really cool to see now that people are giving a lot of love to the south side, right? And that's kind of where our focus is now, is that we want to go back to where we came from, but we want to expand to like the west side. We want to expand to where there is that need, because, I grew up on the west side, and I feel like, a lot of us don't see it as a luxury, but it is.
It is, yeah.
And, we need to be, my brand, we need to be there. We need to be there to be that stepping stone to, hey, let me hold your hand. Hey, this is what coffee is. Hey, you can't afford that.
I think a lot of people look at entrepreneurship as like a segue into being my own boss, right? I'm going to be an entrepreneur. And that means so many different things to so many different people. But I always want to talk with business owners and just share a little bit about the struggle. It was not easy to do this, right?
Yeah.
And still to this day, there's things that you are going to have to push up against. I mean, I know that firsthand from being a small business owner here in San Antonio, and you yourself. It's not going to ever be just a walk in the park. It's not going to be taking a check. It's not going to be just looking at your bank account and seeing zeros.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fight.
So for me, like, no one ever told me that you're going to wear a lot of hats. You better learn social media. You better learn how to network. You better learn how to talk to people, how to be HR, how to be your sales team. You're all of those things, you know? But I think once you accept that, and you're like, okay, right? And then, you know, like you struggle and you figure out a way, and then you get people that know how to do it.
Yeah.
You know, and then eventually you become, you know, you're good. You know, and being a mentor for a lot of people, you know, my thing is that I fail a lot of times, but I learn from that. You know, and I'm one of those guys that I don't dwell on the falling. I dwell more on how I'm not gonna fall again.
You're going to get back up.
Yeah.
You're not going to stay down.
Yeah, and I love sharing that. If I could do something for you and you don't have to repeat that, we're good. You know what I mean? And that's what I like. And that's why I mentor a lot of young people, and I mentor a lot of people that start their business, because they know that I'm willing to talk and I'm not gonna charge you anything, because I feel like I'd rather know that your business is gonna do well, right? Because I helped you a little bit. That stuff, you know, I wish someone helped me with. You know, because I would have been 10 steps ahead.
You're not going to start an online class that you're going to start putting on your social media.
Yeah, yeah.
$25, you're going to know my secret.
No, and it's cool because people that know me, they'll come up to me to be like, hey, man, you have time to talk? I'm down. You know, hey, man, this me, and then we'll talk, and hey, my business this, or like, you know, we pride ourselves in our social media. Our social media, we have a huge following.
A great following.
You know, and that took me time to learn, and algorithms, and what do you have to do, and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And, you know, so like a lot of my mentorship is that, you know, hey, how do I do this? Or how do I network? Or you know, right now we're getting contracts with different people, and like that's real new to me. Like I don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
You know, but it's cool because, you know, as being an entrepreneur, you network with so many other people that y'all become like a big team. At first you think, oh, it's gonna be easy, and it's not. No. It's the totally different. You're worried about money. Hey, how I'm gonna pay my staff? Are we gonna make it? And then you make it, right? And then you're kind of like, ooh. And then it's again like, oh my God, I'm gonna do this all over again.
And there's just a bunch of speed bumps along the way. That's the hardest part. The little things are really what's gonna throw
and you
you
never
off your
know.
balance.
And you're kind of like, I would never thought that was gonna happen, or I never thought that, but it's never gonna happen again.
Yeah. But it's hard to get your mind off that. Do you have any tips or tricks for entrepreneurs that are dealing with that right now? I'm gonna have some of your amazing coffee. Let me just get a little bit.
So, for us, for instance, when it comes to reviews, I've always been taught that if you treat every day like you got a bad review, you'll never get a bad review, right? Because you'll always be on it, right? The less you worry about things that you can't control, the better off you're gonna be, you know? Because we've had issues, you know, and the more I realize that if I give it that energy, then it's gonna be worse.
I think that everyone is going to have their own relative experience. But I think today we sit kind of on the cusp of people choosing entrepreneurship as a default setting. So I'm an entrepreneur, so I'm not going to go to college. Or I'm an entrepreneur, so I'm not going to go get this, or that. And what do you have to say to people who are making that choice? Are you pro that, or do you want them to execute it with conscious effort?
I think it's a bit of both, right? I think you should know what you're getting into. I think you should really do your research and your work, and all right, it's gonna cost me this much. On the long run, you have to know all that kind of stuff, right? Hey, what are my taxes gonna be? Where I'm gonna rent, right? Insurance. I always tell people that before you start your business, whatever business you're gonna get in, get one of those guys to talk to you about their business. Hey, what are my bills? What do you do? All that kind of stuff. So you have an idea like, hey, I have to be able to make X amount of money.
I gotta swing that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And do it for a couple of years, you know? But I'm all about starting your own business. You know what I mean? That's the thing, right? Like, hey man, I'm really into baseball cards. Hey, that's cool, man, do it. Yeah. You know, but follow your passion. But you should also have the knowledge of like, hey man, I'm not sure if I'll make this much money or whatever. You know what I mean? It's a little bit of both. Yeah. You know, and it's hard nowadays because everything's instant gratification, right? So automatically you're kind of, a lot of people don't think, they're like, oh yeah, man. Or what I see a lot in the culinary scene is that someone that's like your family would say, hey man, you make really good burgers. Start your own business.
Yeah.
Start your own business. No one goes, all right? And then they're like, what happened? It's because you just
You did
yeah.
research. You
Yeah,
spent $10,000 on buns.
Yeah, exactly.
And it can get to that expense. It really can.
And it's ridiculous.
It is.
You know, but that's kind of where it is, right? Like this the fine line, you know, and it's those guys that walk that fine line that are usually ones that make it, you know. And if you're lucky, you're the kind of ones that are hard-headed and they're kind of like, hey, you know what, I failed. Like me, I'm hard-headed. I'm like, oh man, we're close to losing, but we kept on going.
Yeah.
You know?
It's you really have to just make the choice that you're going to succeed.
You got to.
You have to. You can't be thinking halfway in, halfway out. I'm going to go back to doing this if this doesn't work. You're just
You got to be all the way in.
Yeah, all the way in. You're opening another storefront. You engage in the community actively. And honestly, you make it an insanely killer cup of coffee. I got to say that. And I'm a coffee snob. I'm not just saying that. Some people say I'm really nice, but I think I'm nice. Some people don't.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Chef Tatu, thank you for talking with me, brother.
Thank
you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, bro.
I'm here with Chef Tatu, the absolute genius behind Folklores Coffee here down in Grayson. It is a cup that you need to come try. Chef Tatu, can you tell us a little bit about what you have coming up and where we can find you?
Yeah, so on social media, we're everywhere. Google our name, you'll see all our stuff. On the weekends, we have small markets. So we have about 30 vendors that come out, sell their product, and it's the best time to come and show your support.
Oh, that's great. You got to come by, you got to come try it, and tell them that you watched the video and you wanted to come look at it because I told them that this would get 1 million views. I maybe didn't.
A million.
I didn't say 1 million, but it's going to get some views. So we're going to come down. You're going to see me here because I love this coffee and I love having the conversation. Thank you so much, brother.
Thank you.